Welcome to another edition of the Eternal Journey. I'm Matt Resolves, and this is Revenge Pile. So last week we played the removal pile deck that Makto and Madness both took down the ETS with, and though didn't really enjoy playing it, I appreciate that it is a powerful deck, and I believe that now that it's been seen, it's been on the ladder, and people sort of played around with it a bit, they've managed to tweak it a little bit, and now it's got my favourite card in it, so I'm just going to enjoy this deck about 500% more because Makto is currently my favourite card in the game. And we also get to play 4 of each alongside the Rise of the Challenge. So this is sort of like a really backdoor synergy package we've got going on here. So Rise of the Challenge is really good when you've got cards like Makto and Icaria in the deck. And Icaria is good because she gives Warcry to the top unit of your deck, which most of the time is just good with Makto. So you just get absurdly big Maktos. And currently he's sort of perhaps not the most exciting because he's only a 5/5. But let me tell you, when this gets a buff, it's ridiculous because you've just got some like 10/10, 15/15, and your opponent can never truly kill it. It's just going to come back and it's just a matter of time. You're just going to grind your opponent down. Both of you like main threats here, like take multiple removal spells. And in a game where typically a deck's got like 8 to 10, like that's not going to take long before you're just going to take over. Your opponent's going to have nothing left, and these do a good job at invalidating boards as well, so even your opponent's units are just not going to get through because the Icaria's got the endurance and the Makto's just a big boy. The opponent is going to have to use something like Permafrost on to deal with realistically, but then Ash Rule just unlocks him. We do also have a couple of other revenge units. We've got the Stonepowder Alchemist, which is now a little bit cheaper, and this does a lot of work in this deck, as not only does it just buy you time to get to this end game where you're doing weird stuff with Icaria and Makto, just like beating down, but you also just get to, in the sort of mirror style decks against other armory decks, you get to play this, it'll kill whatever their weapon is, and then they'll have to play another weapon to get to either your weapon or to your face. You have to sort of interact with this Stonepowder Alchemist in some way. With the Runehammer, just because it's busted, and we can rise the challenge for it, just to be able to kill pretty much anything. And it holds Icaria Liberator buffs quite well. I've got the Wanted Poster, which I'm a little bit less excited about because I'm pretty sure this deck cuts some removal for playing the Maktos. But it's still good. It pops Aegis, and that's pretty important if you're going to play against like stuff like Skycrag. Just playing like 1 mana, like, so you can really cheaply get it in there with your removal spell to just remove the Aegis off like a Vadius or something like that. And also, you can just preemptively set this up, just like, when you're looking at a board, you're just like, this board's going to get swept up by Harsh Rule in a couple of turns. I'm going to use my early turns to just like Quarry. I'm just going to put this Wanted Poster on this idiot over here, because they are going to get swept up. If my opponent wants to annihilate their own dude, then yeah, by all means, I accept. I mean, I don't personally have any Annihilate targets in the deck, so perhaps I shouldn't feel as good about that, but it just feels great when your opponent just sort of like kills their own unit to stop you from drawing cards. I'm just like, okay, well, you've spent your power. Anyway, probably gushing a little bit about this deck, but I do enjoy any deck with Makto, so on to the games. Okay, first game, easy ship. Just 1 power's not enough. Okay, well, we're stuck with this one, but it's reasonably okay. We've got some time to sort of dig up a fire source. Lead off with this, we've found it, so it's probably going to be pretty perfect. We're against anything aggressive or control any of them. We've got the Alchemists to be able to buy us some time. If we find a point where we're not under any pressure, the Slay's probably good no matter what we're against. This could well be like some sort of mirror, but it's still probably fine. So if we're against pressure, we'll get to play the Alchemist. When we've relieved that a little bit, we're able to use the Privilege rank. Okay, so right now we're just going to build some blockers up. I think I might Privilege a rank next turn, just to keep the power flowing so we're able to land this on turn 5. Okay, so our opponent's able to get a Warcry in here. So if we draw a power, I will play the Alchemist. Okay, we don't, so I was going to fully Privilege a rank, sort of set up this Harsh Rule if we need it. I've also got another sort of fast spell there. Could be a Finest Hour Torch or a Protect, which is perhaps one of the strengths of this Ricano deck, is that your 1-cost interactive spell could be a multitude of things. Okay, so we've got a hammer here, which is quite good. I'll probably play that next turn. I think we'll just... I mean, if there is a Valkyrie Enforcer, that's probably fine, because we still have a 5/5 blocker. You'd need an actual removal spell for this. I'm going to slam this because it does some work in blocking, even with Finest Hours or Torches. It still trades. So, Vanquish is fine. Our opponent is going to have a good number of Warcries. Right now they're going to have... Oh, wow. Well, at least it went there. So, we've got the Inquisitor anyway. So we'll get to do quite a bit of tidying up here. Kill a 5/4. There could be a Finest Hour here, which would be quite unfortunate. But that'll leave our opponent on basically nothing. Okay, that's fine. And I'll just torch here. Leave the pressure a bit. Just going to block this, take the 2. I don't want to get too fancy here. Once the Makto gets going... Okay, well in this case we are in trouble. I was going to try and Quarry to try and find it, or the other one. Okay. Yep, I definitely have to be kidding there. Okay, so I'm just going to torch this. No fast spell, so... Just play this lad, just get this out of here. We've got quite a few Warcries on top. Yep, they didn't find it. Okay, so this is close to being a keep. If one of these was a Crest and able to find us the 3rd power for the privilege of rank, I could snap it off, but right now we've got this wanted poster and the only removal spell to pair it with is this Vanquish, so just redraw this. We're on the play, so this is perhaps, but not quite, more like it. We do need to find some Justice sigils, but a privilege of rank will be sort of helpful. That sort of bumps up the amount of Justice that you can draw. Play out the seats, we don't need any double Justice yet. And now we've seen the free calls up here. Could be against like a traditional armory, perhaps a more traditional removal pile, or in fact the mirror. So we do have a little bit of time, but we can't really just mess about forever. We do need to find an actual threat. Crest of Chaos isn't, so we'll bottom that. Very likely that we've got actually just got a bunch of dead cards in hand here. Okay, so play this, seek power for the final Justice, and then this way we've got all of our influence requirements sorted because we'll be on 3/3/3. We actually only need 3/3/2 to be able to cast everything, but so just playing it for now. Just sort of hoping to find a power Icaria or just like a Makto. We're started to rise for the challenge here, so depends what our opponent thinks they want to be getting here. 6/1 Runehammer is good. It could be, as they've done a privilege rank, it could be getting the Icaria. It could very well be that we end up using the wanted poster just to pop an Aegis on an opposing Icaria. Okay, our opponent's got 2 of the Rise to Challenge. I'm going to guess that if they've just used them so quickly, they don't have Maktos in the deck. Okay, so if our opponent has the power here, they get to play the first Icaria, which is pretty sad. Okay, just a Throne Warden, that's fine. Not gonna mess about here, just play the Icaria, get this flowing. Hopefully give this buff to one of our revenge units. So if our opponent fetched, I'm sort of hoping that they fetched an Icaria rather than a Daisho. Okay, well the Daisho's like a fairly fine trade here because we do get to kill one of their better weapons. Now Paul's going to finagle some sort of way where we can turn the wanted poster into actual cards here. So, start off with the Annihilate. I'm not messing around playing around Protect or anything because it's just not a card I'd really expect to see here. Okay. Take this, doesn't really matter what to take the Shadow Sigil out. Privilege of Rank is a no please. Last turn. We can double Hash Rule and Icaria, but we've seen both our opponents rise targets so far, which is the Throne Warden and the Die Show. Looks like we're just both going to be playing this draw goat game now until one of us lands a threat. I have got an Icaria buff somewhere at the top of my deck. So I'm hoping that's going on a Makto rather than what's going on Icaria. So yeah, so this is nice. It's going to be pretty difficult for our opponent to deal with, but they do still get to deal with it with 2 spot removals. So I think that's probably what's going to happen here. They're going to torch the first, well, the layer of Aegis off. Going to take 10, and then on their turn they'll probably have to do like a Harsh Rule or a Slay Vanquish. There's just so many answers to this, but eventually these just do get to grind your opponents down. Because each time they have to deal with 2 cards to do with the one, and then your next threat is even better. So right now, let's see what's got the buff, and it's a 10/10 Makto. So, okay, well there was thought there we could have taken an Icaria just to start getting in there, because eventually we are going to draw the Makto anyway. I probably should have taken the Makto. Okay. So, I'd really just like to see a bit of shadow in this hand. We've got the same sort of problem, whereas we've not really got as many ways to kill stuff. We do sort of have these weirdo wanted posters in our hand, sat next to a Vanquish. I guess the Annihilate does it, but we just don't have the influence for this. So this is a redraw. Okay, this is a lot nicer. We get to set up quite a lot with these Crest of Vengeance, and we've got pretty much perfect influence. Okay, we're in trouble here against the Oni Ronin, but quite a slow to set up hand. Crest case, no thanks. I just want to find like a torch or Annihilate. But this Harsh Rule should be able to catch us up, and if there's anything too big, any sort of nonsense creatures our opponent's got, we should be able to Runehammer them. And if our opponent sort of goes ham with any Warcries, we're able to Vanquish whatever left them. So let's have a look here. Slay's fine, because this gives us quite a nice curve of, even though it's used up a lot more cards you really want to be using, it helps us just keep the pressure off a little bit. So we'll get to actually Vanquish this on this turn. Because what I was saying was that we'd be able to Slay into Runehammer into Harsh Rule. And though you don't really want to be trading like 1-for-1 here, you want to turn the Harsh Rule into some sort of like 2-for-1, 3-for-1 sort of thing. We also can't just sit here and take infinite damage. Oops. So I was intending actually vanquishing. That's what I get for just talking and not really paying attention to what I'm doing. Because now this Vanquish isn't going to be very good. But we'll use it later, so see what's happening here. Just a champion and a steady marshal. So let's have a look at how much damage we're taking here. Be 2, 4, 6, 9. That put us to a little bit too low for what I'm comfortable for. So I will just use the Runehammer just to kill this and just have a little bit of a sniff test. There's no fast spells there. Because I'm more than happy just to Harsh Rule this. Because right now we take 6, go to 6. And that's sort of an okay life total to be at. Oh, don't play Makto. Just in the habit of like, oh, I've got enough power, just slam the Makto. Yeah, let's just, this ends now this. Hope there's some sort of like weapon stranded in our opponent's hand, like a Deep Forge plate. 5-6 Marshal. I think rather than just getting this Makto going, I'm just going to get this wanted poster down. We've got, if there's a protect, we've got 2 ways of being able to re-kill the Marshal. Let's see what we get. More power and a Rise to Challenge. So the Rise to Challenge is going to be good. If our opponent plays another threat, we get to Rise for an Icaria plus play a Slayer. Okay, now we're in trouble. It might very well be... Okay, so this is like a time to think here. And I think because we've got the Makto to follow up, I think we're just going to Rise here. And I'm going to fetch an Alchemist. Because this both kills this hammer, well, this sword, and it brings us a little bit out of burn range. If our opponent has a dragon here... Okay, this is fine. We get to Vanquish here. chunk in for 4. Play a Makto. If opponent had a dragon at that point now, would have been dead pretty much either way. With this, so we do still have to like sort of respect the fact that our opponent could have a dragon. So, yep. I was going to leave this back just in case there was a whirling. Okay, so not a fan of this hand because there's no really selection or anything like that. It's just all of our threats. So this is a straight redraw. Okay, this is nice. It's a bit dirtly, but we get to fix all our power. And then hopefully going to take over just like Rising for a Makto. Okay, this is like a time-based matchup, so Rising for Makto is probably quite good for us. Is the Quarry. At this point, I'd rather just have a cheap slate to go with the existing wanted poster. Because this lets us do some, like say they just play a multicolored spell that we can't kill with Annihilate. Just gives us a cheap way of just like kill it and poster. So, no pressure here even draw 1-1, so play out our power. And though we could just get the wanted poster down just for the sake of cheapness, and this is probably just get swept up in some sort of hash rule. I'd rather just have access to knowing to when I want this. Looks like we're against Xena, nice. Too busy talking, didn't pay attention to the... Okay, so I think I'm just keep going ham with these Temple Scribes. They'll probably just get collected when... Okay, at this point, yep, Makto. I'll just get swept up in some sort of harsh rule, like whenever that happens. Because just taking 2 turns, fine. Actually, these just get invalidated by whatever we're playing anyway. Though the 1-1s in play do make the hammer a little bit more ropey. And hopefully set up a situation where the hammer's able to actually kill something. And if it forces these to attack, that's fine. Okay, well, no Scatland for us, but save that for if this gets dealt with. So our opponent could have some sort of like Vara's favour to be able to strip the powers off this, but we still have a 7-5, which is still not a clock you can ignore, even if it's like grounded. Because for the removal we're able to just get through any sort of any nonsense like a Sandstorm Titan or a Steward of the Past. Still a big fan of this promo picture here. Okay, so we'll Crest the Vengeance here. We'll don't bottom that. Yeah, we actually need that because it's the final fire requirement that we need for the Icaria. A little bit sad that we're a little bit inefficient in terms of power because we'll be at the point of 8. Because basically what you want to be at is you want to be at 7 or 12 really. Okay, so no blocks here. Just gonna want to poster this and kill it next time. Because that's something that's going to bring the game out of our reach, as well as it having a late game ability. What is this? Like the Life Force based sort of mid-range version. We have no power, we've got 5 here to be able to deal with these 2. So I can wait, because if we drew... I didn't know what we drew. It's been nonsense here. So let's put this on here. Doesn't really matter which one. It's got some sort of effect here. Could perhaps place that on here just so they're not able to like annihilate in response, just to deny our card draw. And that's what they're doing, which is still fine because we get this card off them, even though it doesn't do anything against us really. It saves our Annihilate against the deck that's got Sandstorm Titan in it. So yeah, that was actually just a misplay there. I should just put what I posted on the iron. Because for the 2 power they had, there was no way they could have dealt with it. So, always thank your opponent when they Vara's Choice you with no units in play. So that turn cycle went pretty well for us. These little dudes here are getting in quite a bit of damage, becoming a bit of a nuisance. So eventually I might like actually kill one of these. But I'm not happy about that thought. We're taking 5 here. Not the happiest about it, but we do have a Makto in here. I feel like I'm under a lot less pressure when I've got cards like, okay, we'll just do this then. Yeah. Just tick up that Makto, hopefully. Just get him into big shape. I've got Sandstorm's Time, which is sort of what I want to see here. I want to see our opponent use up all the power. There's the 12-10 Makto. You're right, there is no escape. And get Justice out. Let's just annihilate this. Probably got the game pretty locked up here. There's got a huge blocker here. Both of them pretty hard to deal with them. This one takes 2 spells to deal with, and this one just keeps coming back. Yeah, just annihilate this again. And yep, just get in there for 17, I guess. Just slay this, our opponent's not able to get any life or have any pressure on us. Just slam the 10-10. We've got 3 lethal units in play. Really should have kept the slay for any third Sandstorm Titans or like any dark return Sandstorm Titans. But I'm not entirely concerned. Yep, just showing us who's boss by suffocating the dude. Okay, so this sounds good. The Vanquish could very well just be bricks, but like seeing Stonepowder Alchemist. Though upon further reflection, this sounds probably actually not a keep. Considering we're in the dark, I've just got spells that could actually just do nothing. It's not as good as it initially looked once I start to sort of investigate what this actually means. So we'll get to Scribe Bunch here, well, Scout, and I'm going to just play this. No real reason to lead on one over the other. Let's play the Crest of Chaos. And I think at this point we've got 4 power and a catch-up mechanic, so maybe we can keep this, but I think as we've got Riser challenges in the deck, just bottom it. And just find it later, and if we're against something fast like Skycrag can potentially be, means we've not just got like some 7-drop in hand, although her effect is often quite crushing against them, because they're very difficult for her to deal with. Okay, so now we get to sort of have it all there. So, Crest of Vengeance, hopefully find like... So, do we need the Annihilate here? I don't think we do. Nice for dealing with like, if our opponents just had this depleted power, this got like an Oni or something next, just able to crack it off, but we do have the Alchemist into the Runehammer, into later on the Harsh Rule, so we're able to deal with a lot of things. So you've got triple red, just need a additional green here, well, Justice. I'm trying real hard just like actually to say use the correct terminology, but just years of playing Magic and other games, it's quite difficult. Also, you just say what you see. It's red and green, it's purple. We're a little bit slow to act here. Could have a couple of different options. Okay, so this is perhaps like the sort of armory mirror. In which case, I'm just going to keep this down. This can just like snipe off some sort of weapon. Just try and find like a Makto, because I'll probably be quite good here. So Annihilate can get out of here. Pretty happy I shipped the other Annihilate, because pretty much the only targets in whatever matchup this is going to be like From Wardens. From Wardens just die to hammers, so I'm not entirely concerned by them. Oh, like our opponent's like a Sword of Icaria here, so we can get some value off the little Alchemist. So now let's go place out just so we've got something going. Because if they just like weapon this, we're able to weapon their weapon back, and you generally want to be like the second one to play the weapon. When you're the first person to play the weapon, your weapon gets traded for their weapon. You're just sort of down in that exchange, and all you've done is like a little bit of damage. And they usually get 2 cracks with your weapon then. That's pretty much how it used to be with Armory, like the Icaria Primal decks and the traditional Armory types. Might have changed now. So they're going to be slightly ahead here because they've got Countermartism, so their weapons are going to be a reasonable amount better than ours. So I want a Runehammer here just because it lets us attack in here. And we still have like a Revenge unit that's able to protect our weapon from their weapons, because they need weapon plus spell to get through. But it's only worth like 8 damage, 10 damage in total, maybe 12. So let's think about this. Well, we'll just crunching. We trade here, that's fine. Yep, just get some of my deck. So I'd much actually rather now have that Icaria that we bottomed, but I felt like it was right at the time to bottom it. We did have like the catch-up mechanics and stuff to do. We're just going to rise here. Hopefully we're just too greedy. Just go for an Icaria. So we're getting to the point where Icaria is probably a problem for us because we can kill it over a turn cycle, but that's a +10. So the first one's probably from one, second one like a dice or something. We should have played the hammer because we would have been in for like 12 damage here. I'd probably be pretty dead. And I feel like the game's sort of slipping away from us. But I also just don't want to play a Runehammer into an opponent that's just Rise for Challenge because whatever they get is just going to be able to pop it off. So they are Rise flooded. So at this point they're just deck fin it, just taking out all the 7 drops. I'm actually quite happy with this deck. I was sort of struggling to enjoy the removal pile last week. And just know that I've got like a... Know that I've got the Makto in this, it feels a lot more inevitable. Because Makto's stupid, especially when you've got Rise to Challenge your deck. Okay, I've got Runehammer here. So I've got 2 faults I can do here. I'm just going to torch it. This is just a natural buff, it's not a Risen 4. So on our turn we'll... Ooh, Quarry. I get a nice Icaria to get to pop it off for free. Also got some sort of fast spell. We take the wanted post here because whenever you get this decision, you just don't take the privilege of rank because it just consider it as being discarded if you don't choose it. And then you get the... This will get to Quarry and there's like some sort of recall draw free. So let's go ham. Got a nice cheap easy way of popping an Aegis. So just burn this off. For sure, our opponent's got torch back. So I'm pretty convinced that they've got an Icaria in here. Just as they had so many rises, they've just sort of gone ham. So okay, they've ended the turn. Let's have a scout, see if we can find something. Yep, get out of here, seat. Okay, this is the point where our opponent is going to start being able to just destroy us with the Wisdom of the Elders. Because neither of us are pressuring each other really, and our opponent just have a card draw. So though we were slightly ahead because we were hitting all our power drops. Rats, the 7-5. Yep, so we're pretty dead here. Dasho's good. Scout for all time's sake. And your destiny. Yep, so that's a game. Unfortunately, we were never able to utilise the wanted poster. Just had a bunch of dead removal in the sort of weapon mirror, and I suppose that's why this deck's good because it does have the ability to just blank a lot of what your opponent's up to. A lot of these weapons, like the Runehammer, just blank a lot of units, and then the fact that these are also your win conditions means that you're just blanking your main opponent's ways of dealing with them. Anyway, on to the next game. Okay, well, as lovely as this hand is, while these scouts and these Maktos, sadly they don't match up. So we'd end up just having a hand of do nothing. Oh, this is a redraw. This is more like it. We get to scout here, and then just depending on what happens, we're able to sort of seek a little bit later. In the dark against a diamond free torch is probably fine. Keep it. For the most part, I'll just lead on scouts just so we've got like a sort of smooth movement. Right, play the Seek first just so it looks like we was a little bit worried. So we do sort of need the fire source, but the Shadow Sigil is better for some of our cheaper units like the Maktos. But I'm just going to take the Shadow now, just to get out of the way now while we can. Because if we get to 7, it's very unlikely that we won't also have the fire required. So just kill us now, just stop having to deal with that. And then we'll torch whatever's next. So Tinker Overseer, okay. So sort of forever punished. Because we've got this Makto, we're able to play it in the next couple of turns. So I'm going to enjoy this. And yep, the fire. So everything is working out nicely. We will put a Makto, and then a little bit further down the line, we're able to slam the Icaria. Having the Runehammer is nice because it's sort of like a way of dealing with stuff in the interim, and that was enough for the opponent, sadly. Okay, so easy redraw, just 1 power. Power's basically the thing that we need most in this deck. So, just quite like this, we've got basically enough power to find most of our influence. Then we're able to lead the Alchemist into the Rise. If we're in a deck where we need the Alchemist to stick about, it's just... Yeah, we could just invalidate that, so let's not torch this. We'll just seek power. So we've got 3 Justice. Take the Shadow, because that leads us open to Makto. Well, even one like actual Shadow Sigil in the deck feels like a problem, because whenever you seek power, later on in the game we actually need to find the Shadow. A bit more difficult. So we're getting some sort of Skycrag deck. Yep, and at this point we'll just Crest, leave up the Torch. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 in play. This is fixing our remaining colours, but we do need stuff to do, so just don't die. So I'm going to leave up the Torch here. It does leave us open to being countered by like a Unseal or a Caleb's Favour. But that's fine, because mostly I just don't want them to play a Land Requires a unit and then lead it into a Yeti. But that's not happening. So Onyx Katana is happening here, and we don't want to take 4, so this is getting torched. I've got a fast spell, so at this juncture it is more likely than not actually just can only really be a torch. So we will just be playing this. It'll get torched, but it's going to gain us 2, gain us 3 from the torch really. Or it might just like give us the option to block for whatever reason. And then it'll come back, gain us some more life and do another block somewhere else down the line. Next turn we're just going to Rise, and I think we've got enough power here. Just going to get like a Makto or something. Okay, Permafrost is fine. So, Badius is a good reason to go and get a Runehammer because it just deals with it cleanly. But I'm also not under an immense amount of pressure. It's just 5 here. And I know our opponent's got a Torch, so they are able to deal with the Makto. But I'm just going to put it out there on Front Street, just like, this is a 7-5. If you want to trade your Torches away for this, eventually you'll just keep coming back and just keep killing you. My opponent plays a power here, maybe we'll just Harsh Rule. Yep. So, now there's a good amount of pressure. I think I do Harsh Rule, I just get kills the 2 other sides. And leaves us open to killing. So we've already seen that our opponent is playing stuff like an Onyx Katana that is able to bring the Badius up to the range of being big enough to deal with. So, for sure our opponent's got a Torch here, so whatever their other card is. This also gets our Stonepowder back in the deck, which is something I wasn't even thinking of, but is definitely worth it. Yep, so now they've Onyx Katana, so we're going to take a bunch of damage here. Luckily for us, they didn't find like any champions or anything like that. We'll just be able to vanquish this down and sort of move on for our lives. Okay, so there's a Syndicate involved. So, what opposed to this? I do a Vanquish. I'm just going to go Makto into Makto. Take a bit of damage here. But these Maktos actually protect us a little bit from dragons or anything that might be in our opponent's deck. So, I don't know. I should probably keep this one opposed. It's got plenty of power. Just keep it like popping in age or something like that if there's another Vadius involved or one of those little one-drop Yetis, Snow Crust, I believe. Yep. Is this resolving? Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to crunch for 5 here. I played the 5-5 first, I didn't mention this, is just because our opponent's already shown they've got Permafrost. I'd rather than Permafrost the slightly weaker one. So we do have a good answer to pretty much anything they've got here just in hand. I'm not under immense pressure from this 3-2, so I'm pretty happy just to keep this in hand. If they attack, I'll just snap off the double block. Be very difficult for them to ever get through that. But I think next turn, if they don't present any decent threat save for us. Okay. Do we have a second one? If they have a second torch here to attack, then I will torch this so they don't get any war cries out of it. Okay, well, this is fine. So what we're torching now? Okay, that's fine. This is some sort of like weird way that we've got caught up on the stack here, which I'm not entirely happy about. Just don't want to take the extra damage from the overwhelm there. But I'm happy to crunch it for 12 because this is lethal next turn. And these wanted posters looking excellent. Perhaps should have just used them on this so they weren't able to mess about with any weapons. Should really have considered the fact that our opponent could have weapons in the deck. But we're unlikely to get burnt out here, so the game's ours. Okay, so this is probably a fine open hand actually. We do have a blocker for our Runehammer, so I'll keep this. And we'll just lay this down, City Glory, and we've got double pretty much everything, so I'm just going to fetch a Justice here. A bit of slow play from the old opponent. And they're playing a Justice deck, so hopefully they'll play some sort of like Gunslinger's deck. And these Stonepowder Alchemists are good enough just to keep us going until we're able to take over. And sadly, it looks like our opponent could be some influence troubles over here. Although they could actually just like blow my mind just by playing some sort of like mono Justice deck. Some of those sort of mono decks do the rounds every now and then. Uh-oh. Well, I'm glad that came out now. Because the silence effect is reasonably good against this deck. Because although we do have quite a resilience to actual removal spells, this could be a Recano deck and we'll just absolutely just giving away this for free if our opponent does have a Fire Source and a Whirling Duel. But they don't. Looks like that might just be Mono Justice. So as I was saying, though we do have a resilience to weapons with stuff like the Stonepowder Alchemist and then Makto. Well, infinite ways of dealing with that. We actually are a little bit vulnerable to silence effects, although as long as it's just silence and not silence plus removal, we're in good shape most of the time. So this isn't much of a game because our opponent's not had the opportunity to do anything. I'm guessing that they are like a Recano or perhaps a Army deck that's just not got the right influence. But Makto is still expensive as a 5/5 for 5. If it gets silenced, it's not the end of the world, but it isn't really what your game plan wants to be doing. Okay, easy redraw over here. Yeah, we'll Crest first. We've got enough selection here, we just sort of find some sort of removal to go along with these wanted posters. This could very well be the mirror again. Looks like it is. Rats. We've got a bunch of terrible cards again. But that's fine. Let's go to Quarry. And so we've got 4 power, this is a 5th. And the Vanquish is like a 1 power answer to a lot of stuff our opponent's doing, but just want to get the Justice Sigil, just want to get the power flowing right now. We can find answers later with another Quarry. I've also got a nice cheap way of popping any Aegis with the wanted poster. One in from right now, I perhaps want to find a Makto. We can find one here, just reduce its cost a little bit, that'd be pretty good. Sort of a budget Icaria, that'll do. And the hammer is a good answer to any opponent's hammers, so we've got 6 power in hand, so we're able to play the first one. And this will probably keep our opponent busy enough for us to get in there with the second one. So just take the hammer there because there's a little bit of interaction. Doesn't really deal with most of our opponent's threats, but it does deal with any of their weapons, and if they just get like a naked die show for whatever reason. So next turn we've got to play the Fire Sigil out. I'm not entirely sure how you're supposed to be playing this mirror. It's not a style of mirror that I've played before. Often it was more weapon centric and you know like 2 Icarias that he rolls for. So hopefully our opponent's got a nice big juicy weapon for us to just pipe off with this Icaria. Nobody ever expects the 6 cost Icaria. Or even better the 5 cost of Heart of the Vault. So right here, opponent gets a little bit of armor and could potentially pop the armor off. We could get our cards back with the wanted poster, or we could just like Runehammer this, just get some sort of value. Looks like this might actually just be like an older version, or a closer to actual armory, because they've Rose for a Throne Warden. So I think in this instance, just gonna Runehammer just to kill this. Then next turn we get to play the cheaper Icaria and hold the torch up, in case our opponent like counters back with some sort of like some sort of weapon where they need to combo it with. Uh-oh, now we're in trouble. So now we'll play the more expensive one. The opponent wants to trade here. They probably should, because they could have removal spells in hand. Fair enough to that. But pretty much, I'm just going to trade here. So they do get the... Oh, what are they getting here? 6-1 hammer, I'm guessing. Yeah, they've got the clean answer. Yes, this makes perfect sense. So disregard anything I was saying. They've got a nice clean answer. So they've got 10 war cries on top somewhere. I'm just going to get in here. They have a choice to make. Like, do they have another 6-1 hammer that's like a clean answer? Oh, they're going to block here. So I'm happy either way, because I mean I'm just going to snap off the block here. If they allow it, like maybe they've got another weapon, or they've just drawn the Walk Ride. And looks like they've got Torch plus removal spell, just to keep their Icaria going. Okay. So they're to use like okay, they use 3 torches. So they're down to like basically no cards. Yep, that's fine. I've got 15-15 Makto, so that'll do the job. We probably have to block the 14-14, sadly, because otherwise we just die on the spot. Can't really get fancy with this wanted poster. Just see if we draw an actual removal spell here. And hopefully our opponent just like snap off a Vanquish, because that'll be us dead. But they do get to go digging for one. Let's look at. It's staying on top, so perhaps it is what they need. Could very well just actually be a weapon. And now I've got a bunch of war cries on it. So right now, we've got 6 power left, so we can go get another Makto, but we're probably just going to get the Runehammer just because it deals with the Icaria and means that if they did get some sort of like huge weapon, at least we've got some sort of game against it. There's a thought here, perhaps just like using this torch plus wanted poster, just to sort of turn these into actual cards, which get to loot by killing this Icaria. But I'm pretty much going to keep the torch because hopefully what they kept on top is just like a removal spell. So I'm going to sit back in case it's another Icaria with like a huge buff. Okay, it's Quarry, so it's basically, yeah, sort of a gamble here. So saying there's a chance. So it's they discarded the power, what they kept. Vanquish for 1. Okay, we're sort of okay shape here then. We are pretty dead to a lot of what's on top of our opponent's deck. Let's have a look, Quarry. Take the seat, of course, because it's free. This gets 2 Justice Sigils out of our deck. Wasn't the best Quarry. But we've got a little bit of action going on. We are a 6-7 currently. So as long as we can fade our opponent for a couple of turns, I've got the Makto, so this should pretty much seal it. And our opponent agrees. Okay, so this is, I do like this hand. It's got a lot of catch-up mechanics with the Runehammer and the Harsh Wheel. I've got a Quarry and a Scout Land just to sort of like dig for some more important stuff. So I think we'll keep this. Plus a Feln deck it looks like. So we could actually be in a bit of trouble because we don't have the kind of artisans to turn our weapons into 5 power. We do have a Riser challenge which does the job though. So we'll keep that. The tutors are very good. And I don't really know what I want with the Seek, and don't really know what I want with the Quarry, but Quarry gives us a lot more to look at. And so I do like the Crest because it's more power. The Alchemist is likely to get blanked by whatever our opponent's doing, because it's a bunch of like 2/5s, 3/5s, 4/5s, and 5/5s. So this is probably going to get the job done. So we'll just get this Crest out here. And then this is all our power sorted, and then we'll just be able to sort of go ham with this Rasa challenge. Don't do that if you don't need to. You literally didn't need to. You play against a Runehammer deck, so you pretty much don't want to just chuck away the Raspberry for free. Although, like, a lot of their deck invalidates the Runehammer, like, doesn't matter. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 power, so we can bottom this, we don't actually need it. And now we can just go and get the final Justice Sigil that we need. And next turn, I'm just going to go and search up Icaria, because we've got plenty of stuff to be doing. It'll take us a little while to get there. This is what I was saying about the 2/2, like, this nonsense creature over here. Just going to get in the way of that. I'll play the Rise now in case we get like sabotaged or setbacked, because that would truly be a devastating setback. So our opponent's not very good against Inquisitor and Makto anymore actually, so perhaps just get him because we get to play him down next turn. I think that's what we'll do. Like, as good as Icaria is, our opponent needs to have like exactly feeding time to deal with this. Just going to get it down straight away so there's less chance of that actually happening. Okay, well, we've got 2 of them now, so play this out. Play the 5/5, so if there's any sort of feeding times, it just sort of bites it here, and we get to keep the slightly bigger one. Is it feeding time? Oh, it's an Aegis. If they attack him, I'm quite happy to block, because this gives them... I mean, they don't have any actual opportunity in the deck, so like the stewards of the past to actually affect this anymore. So maybe... Blocking is just always probably right, just because it kills their thing, and we keep our thing. This matchup's a lot less stressful now, you don't have to actually worry about the steward of the past just like nuking your win conditions. Though I wasn't actually playing this style for a while. Yeah, that's fine. Maybe the Harsh Rule, probably not the Vanquish. I mean, unless they've got like a... Runehammer's interesting. I'm just going to block it. That's fine with me. Under no pressure, I should probably just like be racing back with the 5 power, but just keeping them in my deck is keeping them safe. So 5 Sigil, get out of here. There's another Ron Howard. Yeah, I probably should have kept it in play because it would have been like 5 in the air, 12, and then dead. But I'm happy just to trade these in like these slower matchups. This is bold because they know we've got the Vanquish. And we'll just use it. So is I went here for keeping the Rise because it lets us rebuy any of these. But I think I'm just going to get an Icaria just to lock up the game as soon as possible. Just have like putting 19 power in the air. And I'm probably able to deploy like 1 or 2 threats here. If they deploy more than 1, it won't be enough to block 3 flyers. So keep getting in there. Getting chunky. Yep, so also the right decision because they didn't get to take our... There's another reason for doing it. They had a way of taking our tutor. So now we're the point where our opponent's just like trading cards for Maktos, which is where we want them because this is how we just grind people out. Now hopefully we get to turn that to like a 12-10. We're getting for 12, it's lethal next turn. Got a torch that isn't doing remotely anything. The opponent's got an Aegis, so it's not getting in there for damage. Doesn't really kill anything on their side. sort of does the job against Withering Witch, I guess, but Withering Witch is just like a cold do nothing here anyway. Yep, my opponent agreed. It's the time for the next one. Okay, so we're a little bit low on fire here, and the privilege rank sort of dissipates it a little bit because we're going to get just as flooded. But we do get to do a good impression of Argent Part here, just like play Makto, but it's probably just a redraw because we do actually need fire to operate. It's got fire, it's also got the second. Let's Crest it. It's got the second shadow source, and it's got all the justice we're going to need. In the dark, wanted poster, get out of here, friend. Because no matter what our opponent's on, our removal is currently 2 harsh rules. But anyway, rats. So let's get us out of here. So our opponent knows what's what. I'm not hiding who I am. Just like I'm a degenerate playing some sort of removal deck with Maktos and Icarias. And against the Xenon deck, hopefully it's a nice Life Force deck, so we get to do something with these harsh rules. Privilege rank, just like better than Divination, because you do it even if it gets discarded. So Friendly Wisp here, not quite enough to prompt me to pull this harsh rule off, but I'm just going to lay this down now, because this will get swept up in the harsh rule with whatever draws them 2 cards next. Possibly just play a Sandstorm Titan, and I will just snap this off. Because they drew 2, I drew 2, we're equal. There we go. So we get to actually rise to challenge for a win condition, which is a little bit risky in this matchup. Well, you can. It's a little bit risky now because opponent does have stuff like Vara's Favour, well, Vara's Choice, stuff like that. So but we can't just leave this in hand because it can also get sabotaged and devastating setbacked. So play a seat out, play this out, get an Icaria. Leave up the torch if our opponent tries putting like a Xenon initiation on this, like preemptively or whatever. They should definitely have attacked first, but that's fine. Now I'm just going to lay down this harsh rule. Yeah, just deal with this. Hopefully our opponent's sort of out of Titans. If they just lay down another Titan, let's play the 7-5 just to attack with. Just because it kills their 3rd Titan at that point. Okay, so what's happening here? Just going to kill this now, just get out of the way. Opponent doesn't have enough open power to be able to deal with like the Icaria on this turn. So I'm just going to play the 7-5 out just because it gets in more damage. I mean, there's sort of a off chance that they could be playing Scorpion Wasp as well as Blister Sting. And they're a couple of turns away from this lifesteal ability. But fortunately for us, it does... Okay, so they give us some killer. Giving this killer, getting some power out. That's fine. So if our Icaria is down, then I feel pretty happy to just harsh rule here. Ooh, okay, we've got a 9-6. So, can we win the race? No. So do this. Play the 9-6 down so it doesn't get sabotaged. We also get to get in for 9. Then hopefully we'll just get to get in there with this Icaria straight away. And plus one a pretty quick clock. So we are going to take a bunch of damage here because we are going to just face off this here. Opponent not having anything like a free power there for an iron or like a banish, just felt pretty safe. So Crest of Vengeance, what we've got on top. And it's a Slay. So Slay slots in pretty nice with what we're about to do next turn, so I'll keep that. Just because this Wisp has done its work, so the opponents want to chump off here just to not go to 8. Yep. Then next turn we get to have 2 Icarias out. Opponent can just like put a Xenon Initiation or whatever on here. I think the power level of this deck just keeps getting hit like by accident. Like it's never really the so if you pull a What are they doing here? Just like playing something out? Okay, it's going to killer. Whatever reason, just to get damage through. Okay. So the power level of our opponent's deck just keeps getting hit, like whatever reason, like just as like side effects of other stuff. Like the Copper Conduit was changed entirely, and now Dawnwalk has been changed. And it feels a little bit unfair because the okay. Well, it's getting blocked here. Probably still running pretty low on resources here. I mean, we're at 10, so we can't just sit here and take damage forever. Okay, what are they getting? Something big, like a 10-11, yeah. This is some nice synergy here. Yep, they probably have to attack here. So it puts them at 12. Okay, a block here. Okay, well, Icaria is stupid. Just randomly 20 out of nowhere. Still like our opponent's deck though. I miss the old Sauropod days. Okay, so yeah, I had fun with this. A lot more fun than I did last week with the removal pile deck. I think the Inquisitor Makto, as I was saying earlier, just improves my enjoyment of any deck. It's like, take Argent Pot, put this in it. Take the Huru Flies deck. Well, I guess I was going to splash Shadow and play Makto because Makto is good beats. Icaria gets you into some, like, gets you out of so much trouble. It's like completely dead on board, and then suddenly you'll just draw the war cries that she's given to you. So whether it just be like a huge life gain on a weapon, or you just got like, oh, I suppose I've just drawn a 7/7 Stonepowder Alchemist that like Destiny didn't play, like, and the game's just over. And one of our games in particular, she put 2 sets of Warcry 5 on another Icaria, and they were just like 20 in the air out of nowhere, and your opponent's just not prepared for that. I like how these just grind through removal as well, because she's got the Aegis, so your opponent needs 2 spells to kill it. Can't pop it very easily for Permafrost. Has to be like wanted post a plus thing, or like triple torch as we saw. But yeah, overall, just really enjoyed this deck. We get another one of my favourite little combos, which is the Quarry Privilege of Rank, where if you see the Privilege of Rank when you quarry it, you just choose to discard it, take whatever the card is that's remaining, even if it's not good, because you get to discard the Privilege Rank, which then plays it for free. So you basically get to go ham. It's just like Quarry turns into some sort of like Dark Ritual, draw a free card, which is very nice. I mean, overall enjoyed it. Maybe you'd like to fit another Shadow Sigil in there just so we can tour it up with the Seek power, but the Shadow is only really important for Makto, and you can usually find it because you've got all these crests and you've got Quarry, and you're just able to get there in the end. Anyway, thanks for watching. I've been That Resolves, and this was Revenge Pile.